Hello, hamheads. Thanks for tuning in. Well, sometimes on Facebook I see memes that people have shared. Like I'm I'm subscribed to a couple of groups like back in the 1980s or life in the 70s and 80s, blah de blah, things like that. Daft little adverts pop up here and there, and or songs or something, or toys from that era. You know what I mean? And some of the comments are like, "Oh, I really miss the 80s. I wish I was back in the 80s. It was so cool back then." Well, I've got news for you. We are in the 80s. Very much so. Didn't you know? It's 1984. Yep. George Orwell was 100% correct in his predictions. The only difference was he was 1 or 2 decades out. I mean, it was just the other day, right? A pregnant woman in Australia is handcuffed, read her rights, arrested and carted off to the police station in front of her kids. Why? Because she said something on Facebook disagreeing with the lockdown rules. It's very Orwellian, isn't it? And I was listening to Alex Belfield a few hours ago. He has a phone-in show. He used to work for the BBC, but, they edged him out, you see, just like they did with Chris Moyles. But Chris Moyles became bigger than the BBC itself. That's why they kicked him out. Same as Alex Belfield. He became bigger than the BBC itself. So they got rid of him. And he absolutely, like me, despises the BBC. And anyway, I was listening to one of his call-in shows before. I might ring him up tonight, actually. Some bloke, right? He was in a wheelchair. He had an accident at work. Paralysed from the waist down. He was in the pub. Sooty and Sweep, the kids programme. He happened to mention something about that. He mentioned the word sooty. He was overheard in this pub. Next thing you know, the police come and arrested him, carted him off to the police station for being racist because he mentioned sooty. But the bloke who overheard him called him a spastic and a cunt and everything else. That's acceptable. But he's not allowed to reference a fucking kids programme. This is where we're at now. This is the sad reality of the present. And I can't see it improving any day soon. I mean, one of my Australian friends was telling me on Facebook he lives in Perth. And it's not too bad as far as lockdown rules go there, apparently, in Western Australia. But he said a woman had been away to Melbourne, right? She came back to Perth, sneaked in the back of a lorry to come back, and she got found out. 6 months in prison. And Australia, they're going along with all these crackpot lockdown rules, and no sympathy for her. Didn't have any sympathy for the woman who got arrested for inciting on Facebook. When she wasn't inciting, she made a few comments disagreeing with the crackpot lockdown rules. It's very worrying, isn't it? I mean, every day I'm expecting a knock on my fucking door. The police to knock on the door. I mean, it's happened to me before. Difference was I got arrested at work. And this was 6 years ago. The reason being was because of a few YouTube videos I did about, radical Islam. basically being honest about it. See, all the values we were taught when we were kids, it's gone now. They're all gone. Counts for nothing. I mean, I was brought up with the knowledge that honesty is the best policy, but no, that's not so. Because now telling the truth is a big crime. You get locked up for it. You tell lies, you're fine. You know, we're being lied to left, right and centre here, from the BBC, Channel 4. You know, people tearing down statues. We abolished slavery. Yes, we stopped slave trading. We knocked it on the head. Still staring statues down though, aren't they? All these misinformed idiots, revolutionaries or whatever they want to call themselves, they're not, because they're brain dead. No research, no homework. That's where we're going wrong. We've found ourselves in a time now when people are either too lazy to research facts, or they daren't research facts because they're terrified of the truth and being proved wrong. This is where we're at. This is the reality. The sad truth. Truth now is criminal. It's a criminal offence to be honest. In 2020, this is the worst year. I think this is everybody's worst year. It's shit. What's going to go wrong next? You know, you've got a fucking pandemic, or is it a pandemic? You've got migrants using this pandemic as a fucking smokescreen, coming into England, landing on British soil by the hundreds, mind you, every day now. 400 plus the other day, in one day. 2 days ago, just, you know. You have to be really careful about what you say now. The thought police, they're controlling how you think, what you say, what you believe. The BBC, they're the biggest culprits. Just have a look on the BBC iPlayer. Have a look where it's got their offer on there. Lie after lie after lie after blatant lie. And young, impressionable minds, they'll be absorbing all this. Just like they are in college and at school, being taught like socialism is so good. You know, communism is brilliant. Capitalism is bad. Let's smash capitalism. Well, we've done all right under it so far. Socialism, communism, no, you can keep them.